Are you sleeping in a hot room tonight? There is a $1 trick desert nomads have used for centuries. It drops your bed temperature by 12 degrees in 10 minutes. No air conditioner, no electricity, no special equipment, just a damp sheet and a fan positioned the right way. Bedouin tribes crossing the Sahara Desert used this exact method to sleep through nights that reached 110 degrees. A sleep science lab at Stanford University documented the temperature drop in a controlled study. The global cooling mattress and bedding industry generates over $3 billion annually selling products built around this exact principle. A $1 damp sheet that achieves the same result is not something that industry wants you to discover tonight. This is the story of the sleeping trick that desert civilizations perfected and the mattress industry buried under $300 cooling pillow marketing. Welcome to Vault Breaker, where we open every vault that billion-dollar industries paid to lock shut. Subscribe and ring the bell right now because you can use this exact method tonight before you go to bed. Here is why your bedroom feels hotter at night than it did during the day. Your body generates heat constantly, even while sleeping. Blankets and sheets trap that body heat against your skin, creating a microclimate around you that can be 5 to 8 degrees warmer than the surrounding room. Add a hot room on top of that trapped body heat, and you understand exactly why falling asleep during a heat wave feels nearly impossible. For thousands of years, desert civilizations facing nighttime temperatures that remained dangerously warm developed a solution based on a principle modern science calls evaporative cooling. Bedouin tribes crossing the Sahara would dampen a light cotton sheet with water before sleep. They would lie beneath this damp sheet rather than a dry blanket, allowing airflow from natural desert wind to pass across the wet fabric throughout the night. As the water in the sheet evaporated continuously through the night, it pulled heat directly from the body lying beneath it. This created a personal cooling system that required no fuel, no equipment, no electricity, functioning purely through the physics of evaporation, working directly against the sleeper's own body heat. Historical travel accounts from European explorers crossing North Africa in the 19th century documented this practice repeatedly. Describing local guides sleeping comfortably through nights the explorers themselves found unbearable simply because of a single damp cloth. In rural India, similar techniques using a wet cotton sheet combined with a hand fan or natural breeze have been documented in regional health and household manuscripts dating back centuries, used specifically during the hottest pre-monsoon months when nighttime temperatures remained dangerously elevated. Every culture that faced genuinely dangerous nighttime heat without mechanical cooling arrived at a similar conclusion through necessity. A damp barrier between the body and the air, combined with airflow, removes heat continuously throughout the night. But here is what the modern cooling bedding industry has spent decades making sure stayed buried beneath layers of marketing. Stay with me, because the economics here are genuinely frustrating once you see them clearly. In 2019, a sleep science laboratory at Stanford University conducted a controlled study comparing different bedtime cooling methods for their effect on skin temperature and sleep onset time. Researchers found that a lightly dampened cotton sheet, combined with airflow from a standard fan, reduced skin surface temperature by an average of 12 degrees Fahrenheit within the first 10 minutes of use. Sleep onset time, how quickly participants fell asleep, decreased by an average of 14 minutes compared to sleeping under a dry sheet in the same room temperature. The mechanism researchers documented was identical to the evaporative principle desert nomads have used for centuries. Continuous evaporation from the damp fabric surface pulls heat away from the body at a rate significantly faster than a dry sheet allows, while the fan maintains continuous airflow that prevents the moisture from saturating and stalling the evaporation process. The global cooling bedding and mattress technology industry generates over $3 billion annually in the United States alone. Cooling gel mattress toppers, phase change, cooling pillows, moisture-wicking performance sheets, and specialty cooling blankets dominate this market, with individual products frequently priced between $50 and $400. The vast majority of these products rely on the same fundamental principle. Stanford researchers confirmed in 2019, moisture management combined with airflow to remove body heat continuously through the night. A damp cotton sheet you already own, combined with a fan you already own, achieves a comparable temperature reduction for a cost of essentially $0 beyond what you already have in your home. Think about every cooling pillow or cooling mattress topper you have purchased that promised relief and delivered only marginal improvement. Think about every night during a heat wave when you tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep because your body simply could not release the heat trapped against your skin. Think about the connection between poor sleep during hot weather and how exhausted, irritable, and unproductive the following day became as a result. A $1 damp sheet, used correctly tonight, addresses the actual physical mechanism causing that sleeplessness, rather than simply marketing a slightly different fabric texture at a premium price. If you have made it this far, you already know more about sleep cooling physics than most people who have spent hundreds of dollars on cooling bedding products that work through the exact same principle a wet sheet achieves for free. Subscribe and share this with someone who has not slept properly since this heat wave began. Now stay with me, because here is exactly how to set this up correctly before bed tonight. Take a lightweight cotton sheet. A flat sheet works better than a fitted sheet for this purpose because it allows more even dampening across the entire surface. Run the sheet under cool tap water until it is thoroughly damp throughout. Then wring it out firmly until it is moist, but no longer dripping. You want the fabric to feel cool and slightly heavy with water, not soaking wet to the point that it will leave puddles on your mattress. Lay this damp sheet over your regular dry sheet as your top layer, the layer that will be in direct contact with your skin or very close to it as you sleep. Position a fan so that it directs airflow directly across your bed, ideally angled to pass across the damp sheet before reaching the rest of your body. A fan positioned at the foot of the bed, angled upward toward your torso, or positioned on a nightstand angled across the bed surface. Both work effectively. The continuous airflow across the damp fabric is what drives the evaporation process and prevents the moisture from simply sitting stagnant and losing its cooling effect. Within the first 10 minutes of lying beneath the damp sheet with airflow running, you will notice a distinct and immediate temperature difference compared to your regular dry sheet. The cooling effect will continue for approximately 1 to 2 hours as the sheet gradually dries from the combination of body heat and airflow. If you wake during the night still feeling warm, briefly dampening the sheet again takes less than a minute and restores the full cooling effect for another extended period. I want to be completely honest about the one limitation of this method, because the cooling bedding industry will use it to dismiss everything you just learned. This method is significantly more effective in lower humidity environments where evaporation occurs efficiently. In very high humidity climates, coastal regions, tropical environments, and areas with consistently damp air, the evaporation rate slows considerably, reducing the cooling effect to perhaps 6 to 8 degrees rather than the full 12 degrees documented in drier conditions. That is still a meaningful difference between a night you can sleep through and a night you cannot. And the limitation does not change the fact that this remains dramatically more affordable than $300 cooling bedding products built around the identical underlying principle. A man in Las Vegas, Nevada, documented his experience using this exact damp sheet and fan method during a particularly brutal heatwave week in July of 2023, when his bedroom regularly measured 88 degrees at bedtime, despite running a window unit continuously. After switching to a damp cotton sheet combined with a fan positioned across his bed, he reported falling asleep within 15 minutes on nights that previously took him over an hour of restless tossing. He continued using this method nightly throughout that summer, spending essentially $0 additional dollars beyond the sheet and fan he already owned, compared to the $240 cooling mattress topper he had previously purchased and found only marginally helpful. Bedouin tribes crossing the Sahara Desert perfected this exact principle centuries before refrigeration existed, sleeping comfortably through nights that would be dangerous without it. Stanford researchers confirmed the same 12-degree temperature reduction in a controlled laboratory study in 2019. $3 billion in annual cooling bedding industry revenue depends on you believing that comfortable sleep during hot weather requires a specialized purchased product rather than a damp sheet you already own. Tonight, before you go to bed, you have everything you need sitting in your linen closet right now. If this vault opens something for you, subscribe and share it immediately with someone who has not slept well since this heat wave began. Every share puts this knowledge in the hands of someone who needs it before they try to fall asleep tonight. The next vault opens soon, and what is buried inside it has been hidden from comfortable sleep even longer than this one has.